Good morning and happy Makers Monday. Please accept this video recording as tribute in place of the stream as the internet is sucking balls. This is our very first of the new Makers Monday study setup thing, and we are focusing today on backgrounds. We'll be focusing on backgrounds for the rest of the month, but I thought a good starting point would be the basics of depth and the illusion of space and distance via varying degrees of contrast and value. Forewarning, I'm not a teacher. I don't have the qualifications to be a teacher, but I'm trying my best and I'm learning as well. So apologies if I get kind of rambly and or don't really know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to figure this out too. Okay, so we are looking at this here as well as this one here, The Illusion of Depth by Ochi Brochi, which illustrates how you use value to convey a sense of distance. You see that things in the background tend to be lighter or muddier, and things get darker and clearer as they get closer to the foreground. We're going to mix this with how to think when you draw with Lorenzo's concept of like landscape composition by creating background, midground, and foreground. You can see that the same principles are applied here. Something lighter in the background and getting darker as it comes forward. I have posted several stock photo landscapes in the Makers board in the progress help section that I think already illustrate this really well. So pick any one you like that you want to do. I am going to be working with this one here. I think it's really nice. We're going to do two versions, a colored version, but after we do the black and white version. I think that doing a black and white version first can help to alleviate some of the confusion that color can add. It doesn't change things too much with this one, but specifically like the color yellow can tend to catch your eye more strongly than other colors might. So the yellow that's kind of hazed in the background there can kind of almost make everything feel a bit closer. So it adds a bit of confusion with the depth and sense of distance. So when you make something black and white, you don't think about the color doesn't really affect what you're seeing, and you can just focus on the values and contrast. So we're going to do a black and white version first, and then we can use that as reference to help alleviate any confusion the color version adds. So I have a very rough sketch here. Don't really need too much of a sketch, I don't think, but I'm just gonna deal with it. So we are trying to find background, midground, and foreground. And I think we can do that with just 3 different paints. Okay, so I have a really dark kind of black paint, which will be our foreground. I think I will need to mix up some more paint if I wanted to do this fully grayscale, but yeah, we should just do it grayscale. Do I not have any other grayscale cups in the mix right now? Oh, here's one. Perfect. So I think I can get away with two right now. We have a mid-gray and a black here. Yeah, and I can probably just use one of my other palettes for the lightest color. Yeah, I'll clean one of these up and then we can just use it on there so we don't have to mix up anything new. fucking cup. Okay. Let's get our grayscale paints out. What do we got? Okay. That should be fine. That should be fine on its own. Let's mix up a bit more. I love Shadow Violet, but that probably won't really be appropriate here. Let's see what these look like. Get our references out. Oh my god! Bloodstone Genuine is fucking beautiful! Where the heck is it? Oh, it's in that little box up there. Fuck it. Let's just do lamp black and white. Let's not get crazy. Poor Bob Ross. And generally when I do like grayscale landscape type stuff, I like to have like a range of like 5 different grays and blacks and stuff like that. But since we're trying to just focus on 3 different aspects, like 3 different sense of distances, back, middle, and foreground, I think we can get away with just using 3 because that's kind of what we're trying to do anyway. So let's try to keep it with a 3. Okay, let's get the brushes out. Pipette some clean water into these cups. Oh shoot, I forgot to do something in the little palette. Get that back out. Hi, little baby. You're good. You're good. You're the goodest. There. Good girl. You know what? We might not even need to. If we just go really light with that one, that should just do it. Good girl. Okay, let's get Florida Man out and mix this up. That's probably a bit too dark to do. Hold on, let's see. Okay, this is it dry brushed on. Okay, that's a good mid-gray. Let's try it wet on wet. Maybe we can get something. If we take the watery stuff, diffuse it a bit. We'll see how that dries up. And we know this one is super dark. May need a little bit of a refresher in there. Straighten that back in. That should be okay for now. Okay. And if we just spread this out a bit. Yeah, I think that'll work. We can use just the 2 then. Okay. Set these aside so we don't mess them up or anything. And let's get our oval wash brush, load it up with some clean water, and then start mapping the areas. Okay, so let's start with our background first. We have to implement these like levels or these value and contrast ideas along with our watercolor paint. And with watercolor, you work light to dark. So that means that we will be working background to foreground. So let's start just laying the foundations for the background. This one is really good because it is a very foggy forest and we can get away with doing very little of the background here. So I'm gonna got the area all wet, got some of the waterier paint, And let's just start pulling some fog down here. Spreading it out. And it seems to get quite a bit lighter around here and here. So let's almost give it a vignette around there. Add a little bit of water and blend them together.
Any other way.
Okay. And once that starts to dry a little bit, we can add a few of the really hazy, almost phantom trees. And they shouldn't be very sharp, so we'll have a bit of a bleed going on here, which will be perfect for that added sense of distance. Okay. Let's see. We can get some of the deeper stuff here. Since it's watercolor, it will dry quite a bit lighter as well. Get a nice thin brush. And then start just popping some of the background trees on and letting them just kind of bloom there. And then we'll be forgetting all about them. That's a bit more mid-ground. Let's try to get that to be a little lighter. Some of this can technically be a bit more mid-ground than background, but since watercolor is also a very layering heavy game, I don't think it'll hurt much just to get some of the between back and mid-ground values in. We get some really blurry and quite pale foliage up this way. I'm also not horribly concerned with getting things accurate to the reference material. We're just kind of using it as inspiration. So if yours doesn't end up looking exactly like a photocopy, then I don't think there's any reason to worry. You are not a copy machine. You are special, Stardust baby. You do whatever the hell you want. Okay, I think that'll work for our background. Let's give this thing a blast with the blow dryer so that we can keep working. Just a moment while I mute. Okay, mid-ground now. Hey, boo! So now we don't need to worry too much about watering this down. We can go straight at it. And this is about the time that I also don't really work wet on wet. I use wet on dry so that our lines will be a bit cleaner, a bit more in focus. I like using the wet on wet because you see it creates an almost blurred effect. I like to think that it kind of mimics a shallow depth of field. So whether or not it does is the jury's no. What's the phrase? Verdict's still out. Jury's still out. Where are they at?
Both of those work.
The jury's still out. I don't. Are they at lunch? Are they deciding?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Okay, so I like to think that our foreground with this image, where is it? This image specifically is, oh, you can't see my mouse at all. There's this little, like very slender kind of twig tree in the left-hand side, mid-left, and then some deep foliage and some deeper trees along the right. But I like to think the majority of the trees here are actually mid-ground. So that's what I'm going to do here. I want this big chonker right here to be a mid-ground tree. So let's just pop him in. And I am not concerned about him being super straight tree trunk, because it's not an ID gaff anyway. And then we have another one here. A bit more slender. But unlike the background, this one will probably take more than one layer to get on in a pleasing way. Probably just two, and then our foreground will probably take more layers still, just to get our contrast looking nice and dark, nice and sharp. Having the extra detail there will help our case with it being foreground as well. More details tend to draw the eyeball. This is a bit darker than the reference image is. So we can add a little bit of water in. Let's have some of it be sharp edged. And then we can strain that out a bit. Add a cloudy aspect near the top with some water. Just start layering on the slightly darker trunks. Okay, be the slightly darker foliage over here. A shrubbery. Oof, that was bad. Fine with just adding a bit here in the foreground because it'll help with the layers later on. Quite a lot of treeage. This edge chiseled down. Wish it would stop. Jesus. Okay. And some more fine little foliages. Over this way. We have this big boy tree here, which I am going to have as part of our foreground, but getting started with some of the layers be good, especially near the top. It's quite dim near the top in contrast to the rest of it. So that should dry pretty swell. Trees on this side in comparison to the left, at least mid-ground trees. There's quite a few. And then a lot of this over here is very foreground. Okay. Let's get some more of our mid-ground color over here, even though the majority of this over here I want in the foreground. Let's get some mid-ground in. Give it a place to stand on. Let's do a couple of our additional mid-ground layers just to add a little bit more detail and contrast. Don't want it to have too much, but there is a bit more going on with some of these trees than a flat washed tends to do. We have very, very faint amount of trunk detail near the bases where they are closer to the camera. And then they fade up into almost like flat cutouts near the top. So we can do that and then leave them quite flat as they get further away from the camera. Some of these bushes over here. Let's try to get a more chiseled edge off this brush so we can kind of fake a bit of foliage. Remember, we don't need to go ham on it. It's just practice. And you need to allow yourself the time to practice. Whether that means making something just for yourself, something you're dedicated to not posting so that you don't put the pressure on. Something like that. Something that doesn't need to be perfect. Because you deserve that. You deserve to not pressure yourself all the time. Okay. I'm content to let that stay like that. Let's go over this way. We have a bit more shading happening here. We don't want any of the whites to be in the midground. We want them to be in the foreground because our contrast, we want the highest amount of contrast where we want the eye to sit, where we want the eye to focus, and that will be our deepest darks and our lightest lights. Even though this particular image that I'm using seems to have its lightest lights in the fog in the background, but there is a bit of a competing light in the slender little tree that is going to be here. So let's just do what we can do. This one has about the same amount of detail near the top as this one has near the base. So we can get our mid-ground type detail near the top, and then we can kind of leave it alone and let its detail happen with our foreground colors. But we can start getting some detail in. Let's leave that alone, and then we can move on to, oh, this one over here is looking super dank. Let's get on this boy. Okay, let's get some of this foliage over here. love when the bristles start to kind of separate like this the longer I use it, because then it gives us some really nice like bushy leaf effects. Like, look at that. Nice and bushy. Mama likes a good bushy clump. Look at this. Look at this bushy clump. Nice. Oh yeah, let's get some on there. Perfect. Because there's some really hazy bushy clumps going on over yonder way. And now that we've got the brush being perfect, get on that. If anyone is interested in knowing what this brush is, it is a calligraphy brush that one of my best friends gave me. It is natural fibered and it is fabulous. I don't really know anything beyond that, so sorry. But yeah, look at calligraphy brushes. Also, if the god of calligraphy brushes could sponsor me, that would be super cool. I don't know who that is, but I welcome their spirit into my life. Look at that! Oh, so bushy. Okay, I think that's good for our mid layer. Our mid ground is looking swell. So now let's go onto our foreground with our darkest color. Let's start with it kind of watered down so that we can really control the darkest darks. Start on the left so that we won't put our hand in it. Quite a bit of shadow happening in some of these foreground bushes. So we can start layering some more bushy clumps over this way. Hi, Boo. Hold on, my love. I know. Pool girl. Hold on, pool girl. Hair. Hold on, little love. Good girl. I know, you're so good. Okay, all right, hold on. Because you're good. very clear to see plants over here. I may go at them with ink. At the end, but let's try to bring some more controlled shapes over here. Ow, Midna! Hold on, boo. I will bring you up. I will bring you up, baby. Just need a minute. That's right. Hold on, boo. Okay, let's get a bit happening in the tree. We have some nice darks here at the base of the trunk. Looks really nice. Want this edge to be nice and sharp. Hold on, my little love. Ow, Jesus. Widow baby. She's so good. Are you laughing at her?
Yeah.
Cause she's good.
She does her best.
Oh no. And her best is good enough. Isn't it? Isn't it good? Okay. Here you go, my little one. Okay. We have some darker. Ow! Oh, balls! Okay. You can be on the desk, but that hurt too much. Oh, sweet God, Midna. You're so good. Oh, don't. All right. Well, there you go. Love you. There you go. For fuck's sake.
That's Boo.
That is so Boo. Because she's Boo Beans. Because she's baby. Come here, baby. Love you. Why don't you curl up? Look at my hands are making a circle. Curl up. Come on. Oh, don't step right there. Come on. Just curl up. There's a good girl. Okay. Okay, just be good. No claws, okay? Ow, that's a claw. Okay. Ow, 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 baby, baby. Be good. There you go. That's good. Love you both. There you go. There you go. I gotcha. Good girl. Good girl. Oh, I've got lipstick on you. Poor baby. Poor boo. Come on, boo. We gotta paint. Gotta work. Oh, don't. Jesus. My love. Okay. There's this tree in the front that we haven't painted yet because it's pretty foreground. Pretty foreground. Jesus. Right now, come on, boo. Be good. Be good, boo. Be good. Okay. And there's another one. And we have lots of little foreground twiggies. Oh, don't sit right on the cup, love. Don't sit on the cup. Got your fur in the paint. There you go. There she is. There's the baby. Good girl. Okay, now we can work. Now that Midna has found her zen. So we have lots of little twiggies coming off of these foregrounders. We added some foliage bases in the midground here. It should help go a long way in the foreground.
stain on the grain of the timber, obscured in the trees and the towns. There's a sinister scent on the wind. Time's gonna come around. The red sun is going down. There's a devil inside of us all now. There's a giant to bring to the ground. He's taking us out when it falls. Our time's gonna come around. The red sun is
Okay,
going
and then we can go and add some very fine little leaves. Because they're so much darker, they don't need to take up nearly as much space as the background and midground bushy clumps. Since these are so much darker, they will work much smaller and to the same amount, same if not stronger effect.
They weep and they wail with no sound. They darken the lights and the lamps. Our time's gonna come around. The red sun is going down. There's a sting on the gas from the brass now. There's a mark on the wrist and a bound. We're all rings in the cycle of death. Our time's gonna come around. The red sun is going down, and there's a price to pay for all that we have done. Turn my eyes away and watch the setting sun.
See, look at how far all of that groundwork we did. How far it's all going now. We only have to do a minimal amount of these finer details to give them a really strong effect, because we were able to layer the added distance behind it, and then adding large amounts of the mid-tone color here, I think is making the darker foreground detail a lot stronger. So taking a little extra time to do stuff like that can really make a stronger impact with minimal effort, I think. It's pretty fucking cool. Pretty fucking sweet. And art is really hard, so anything you can do to make it easier on yourself is generally a good go. Except for like stealing art and being a dick. That's no good. Don't be a fucking asshole. So again, this isn't meant to be a perfect replication. or replica. Is replication a word? I think it is. It's not meant to be a perfect copy of the photograph, but it is working pretty well for us, I think. Honey, is my shoulder bleeding? The one closer to you?
I don't think so. I can see a scratch there.
Okay. Feels like it's bleeding. Cause she's so good! Awesome. Okay. Some of that dense, dark stuff. Straighten it out. Get a nice chiseled edge, and we can do a bit more. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for helping, little baby.
Couple more twiggerinos. This boy here. Okay, so there are a lot of brighter pieces on this foreground like baby tree, but there are also quite a bit of darker dark. So I'm going to lay some shadows down first, and then maybe we can come in with a Posca pen and add those super bright highlights on top of them. Okay. What a good girl. Okay, so this needs blow dried, but I can't do that to my poor baby, so I'm just gonna take a moment and give this baby some love. Oh wow, what a good girl. What a good girl. Oh my god, how is she so sweet? Wonder if I can reach my Posca pen without disturbing the littlest one. Is it in here? Oh, there is one in here. Okay. Let's see if this has legs. See if this functions well. Oh! I sure did. Oh boy. Did any get on you, Midna? I don't feel any. Splort! Hold on. Midna? Are you wet anywhere? No, you feel fine. Okay, good girl. All right. We could do with being a bit darker over here. And that way the whites on this little tree should stand out a little bit better. And that does look a bit more accurate to the photo reference. Okay, let's blast this bitch with the blow dryer really quick. Okay, I feel like we could take hours and hours making this look perfect, but I think this has accomplished what we wanted it to. It basically mapping out where the deepest shadows are and the lightest lights and everything in between, so that when we go to do the colored version, it will be easier to kind of figure out where things should be sitting. You see people doing these a lot for their paintings, generally doing like grayscale thumbnailing before doing a full painting, or sometimes doing a full miniature painting, but again, mapping out the various values and contrast just to keep everything as balanced as possible. And I know, you know, we're busy people. We don't always have the time of the day to do what we just did, doing a same size and a grayscale version. But if you can ever give yourself the opportunity to do even a small kind of grayscale sketch to help figure out where you want your darkest darks, your lightest lights, and filling in all the in-betweens, it can really go a long way to helping your pieces have more depth and more balance overall. So I'm going to cut. This is our first section done. I'm going to take a little break, and then we can work the rest of the video on our colored version using the black and white version as a guide for our values. Thank you so much, and I hope you've enjoyed so far. Okay, welcome back to whatever the hell this is. I have got our grayscale piece cut off the board and sat here for easy referencing while we work on the colored version. So now things get a little more complicated. We're not just working in 3 different values. We are working in colors. I have chosen our background color as a nice green gold. Our mid-tones, our middle ground, a nice kind of mid-bluish green. And there also seems to be a hint of red in some of the foreground. So I'm gonna have that mixed with a bit of a green, a super dark, like Viridian and lamp black mixture. And then we can do some highlights in ink when we're done, but so long as we adhere to what we mapped out before, things should come out pretty well balanced. So if we ever get lost and confused, we can just reference that. So we want to mix these paints up a bit. There's a little bit of water, a little bit in there, and over here. Okay. So we have our previous card. I'll just flip it over. I'll need none of that. And this here color is Green Gold by Daniel Smith. It is one of my absolute favorite paints to work with because it is so vibrant and ridiculous and wonderful. Oh, that is just fabulous. So good. And I'm not sure what this mixture is because it's gone through a lot of changes as I've needed it. So it's just a complete amalgamation of a whole load of stuff. So who knows what that is, but it's really pretty. So it'll work for us. We're going to need a bit more in this, I think, to keep it nice and dark. But this is just Paraline Maroon by Daniel Smith again. It's a good color, but we need it to be quite a bit darker. go. And since this needs to be in our deeper foreground area, I'm gonna keep it relatively dry. We don't wanna mix too much water in there because then we can get some nice, deep, highly saturated areas. It'll be perfect. And this one here is, oh, it's not Viridian, it's sap green. Okay, this is a mixture of Daniel Smith's Lamp Black and Grumbacher's Sap Green. I have like 1 or 2 Grumbachers kicking around. The sap green is really lovely. So this should work well. Oh, look at that, that's lovely. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, so these are the colors we're going to work with. And since it's a smaller paper, we should have enough here to get the whole thing done in one go without having to mix up anymore. So, same thing as before. Let's load up our oval wash brush with some clean water and wash down the entire surface. And then start blocking in our background, our lightest color. This brush up. And how did we do it last time? Took it around and left some cloudy bits here in the middle, and then we went in with some water and blended them together. That should still work here. So let's strain that out. It looks a lot more like lemon yellow on in the video, in the camera, but it is more of a highlighter green kind of color. It's super good. I love it so much, it's so crazy. Okay, now with just a bit of water, kind of blend these in into more of an uneven haze. Some brighter bits up here. Do I smell salmon?
No.
I feel like I smell salmon. Weird. All right. Pleased with that. Actually, we could probably do with a bit more dumped back in right around here. Give it a bit of a vignette like we did before. And around here. Okay, yeah, that looks about right to me. Which is no small blessing because we're pretty much out of that paint now. Okay, so now we want to switch back to the calligraphy brush and start doing some of the in-between back and middle ground color. So, this here, and we want to get the watery stuff and start doing some of the hazy trees. Okay. lovely little hazy bits over here. Let's just pop some in. Okay. Very nice. Okay.
Draw for the gun finger, causing a riot, I'm causing a mix up, pour me a big cup, faded, I'm riding the tidal, wavy, draw for the gun, 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 draw for the gun finger.
Okay, and while things are still wet, I am going to wash down some of the deeper shadow areas with this red so that we can get a bit of a red tone to it once we start layering in our deep shadows. So we seem to have some pretty significant amounts of red here. And here as well. Okay, seems good.
kill. Guys wanna talk about holding a mill. Ain't no food in your fridge
We
now.
have quite a bit of the green-blue splodged over this way.
Draw for the gun finger.
Okay, and everything else has a bit of a sharper look to it, so once we get these super blotchy areas, we can move on to our mid-ground. Just want to get some nice, good blooms in here while we are at it. Okay, I think I'm satisfied with that. So let's, I want to diffuse some of the edges over here so that when we start layering things down, it won't be super out of place. Just want to gradient the edge just a little bit so we can get some smooth layers on top.
I think I know what you mean. There's like an ocean smell in there.
Mm-hmm.
It could just be coming from the ocean.
But we don't normally smell it from this far.
True.
And I didn't want to say I smell fish because that just sounds awful. But it did specifically smell like salmon. So, yeah. Okay. Give me just a second. I'm gonna mute my microphone, get this blow dried, and then we can start on our middle ground.
I live in the shadows, I work in the shade. A cape and a mask, a lonely keeper's crusade. Can you tell me I'm not insane? Sometimes I get this feeling about the law I'm dealing. Am I letting my reason wane? Have I been forsaken on this path I've taken? Check my head, I guess the joke's on me. Oh, I'm not laughing at the irony. Oh no. So riddle me this now and riddle me that. Does anyone really know the mind of the bat? So riddle me this now and riddle me that. Does anyone really know the mind of the bat? Wherever you're going, whatever you do, I'm out in the dark, keeping watch over you. So poison the ivy with your crocodile tears. We're climbing the vines to the heart of your fears. Can you tell me has something changed? The rewards are zero, cause I ain't no hero. Do you know it when you go strange? Is your taunting true? Am I as crazy as you? Check my head, I guess the joke's on me. Whoa, I'm not laughing at the irony. Oh no. Now and riddle me that. Does anyone really know the mind of the bat?
Okay. Move that away. Oh, and I wasn't drinking wine. That was an iced coffee. I wanted it to feel classy, so I put it in this fishbowl gin thing. It's one of these. Super freaking good. Okay. Let's see. So we're gonna be sitting horde in this green for a while. So let's do what we did before and start getting some of our sharper. Sharper trunks in. Okay. Start with the trunks and then we can add the foliage and stuff. It'll be easier to organize it that way.
Does anyone really know the mind of the bat? So riddle me this now and riddle me that. Does anyone really know the mind of the bat?
That has quite a bit of red near the base of it. Let's just get some of that in there really quick. Trunks first, and then we can move on to foliage. Moonsquid, calm the flip down. Oh, you're past. Oh, this song that's playing right now, he keeps saying, there's something in your past that you can't erase. But I thought he was saying there's something in your bath. Like, I thought he said there's something in your bath that you can't erase. I'm like, oh, all right, thanks. I had no idea that there was something horrifying in my bath. Never mind. Don't do foliage yet, Jesus. Well, I want to, so. Leave me alone, me! start getting this big boy in there too. We do have a bit of red right there in the trunky dunk. Now let's start doing a bit of the foliage. Might have better success with this if we start with a wet base. Actually, no, I think it'll be all right. We have a little bit back here, a little bit more hazy, which is great. Shouldn't need too much more than that. And it will take a few layers, just like last time. So we can just count this as layer 1. Okay, it can be moderately flat as well, I think. Oh, we'll do the leaves later. Let's do the bottom brush first. Just popping some color in. Not concerned about the foreground. We have plenty of time to layer that up real nice. So it's gonna be a big blotchy mess for a while. And actually, while things are still wet, we'll just pull some of our background color into the stuff further back. Let's leave that for a bit and move into the tree line. We don't want anything to be super clear or fine detail-wise, so I am just getting some dry brushing on there just to take up some blotchy space in a flat kind of way that will imply quite a bit of foliage without actually going through with doing all of it individually, like we will probably be doing with the darkest one. That's a bit too dark for there. Oh, so I guess we're doing a second layer now. So anything that is still within the middle ground, but has a little bit more contrast or detail to it, we want to add just a couple more swipes of paint. Like the base of this trunk over here has some visible detail, but not nearly as much as our foreground friends. So let's get some middle ground lovin' on this boy. And we have some of a similar contrasty level of foliage over here. So I'm just gonna pop some of that in really quick. Pop, pop! Okay. Little planty friends over here. You just keep layering in her shadows. In the correct areas. They can bleed a bit into the foreground area. We'll try to keep them from being there too much, but having a bit will help with layering and keeping all the colors a bit more cohesive, so do whatever the hell you want. I don't know. keep expecting this song to turn into Aries' theme. Okay, we'll start getting some of those mid-ground-ish details up here like we did last time. I thought that helped a lot to bring it to the foreground. And this area's foliage doesn't need to be as dense, but we should still add some. Try to dry brush it so it remains consistent with the rest of it, even though this one has quite a lot that layers on top of it in the foreground. Still be nice. Add some additional depth. There we go.
Makes me want to dance.
We need a little bit more here. It's a bit too open, and I know that's where the main stick thing goes, but it is still quite a bit darker there than I've left. So maybe just a few. Okay, and there's quite a bit of red leading up into the bushes and trees around here. Start layering in some of this red as a between our mid-ground and our foreground. Let's just get some of this in there. Here's where we start getting some of the clearer plants and plant shapes, but I think we're gonna do those in ink so that we can really get them looking swell. So let's just get our like base shadows there so that when we pop on our inks, it'll look really swell. Just continue with the red. Oh, I almost splattered the grayscale one. See, the red climbs all the way up this way, up into a darker tree there. Let's start laying the groundwork for that. It's about here-ish. And here. Okay. Cool. Here. Not too much though. Okay. All right, swizzle. Let's give this another blast with a blow dryer, and then I think we can move into our foreground shadows. Just a moment while I mute. Okay, everything's looking good. I am getting hungry, and it is almost 2 p.m., so I'm going to jump off for my lunch break. Or it's a video, so I guess I'll just fucking pause it, right? As soon as I come back, we will continue with our foreground shadows, and then we'll move into our foreground details with Derwent Inktense ink blocks as usual. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you're doing great so far. See you in a bit. Bye. Okay, back at it with our deep foreground shadows leading into our foreground highlights and super fine details. Let's get our image back open. Okay. Start going in with our sap green and lamp black mixture. Okay, we're just popping in some of the deeper areas. And we'll try to blend it in a bit with the red. Make sure we have a nice good base for the highlighted details to sit upon, so they could be looking their swellest. Okay, there's a bit going on that trunk. We'll try to get some more watery stuff though, so it's not super dank. Super dank and dark. Just a little bit here. And this branch over here is a bit darker than we gave it credit for originally. Looks good. And here is where ya boy Treebert is. pretty deep space right here. I want to try to leave these bloom textures here alone because they're super pretty and I want them to survive this process. So even if I have to be extra untrue to the source material, I'm gonna do it because I want to. And there's nothing you can say to me. Also, don't at me. I am so fragile. Try to find the deeper parts and let them fade into the redder parts. I think that would be around here-ish. And then around here. And then we can work on that tree that we have avoided so far. But the rest of the shadows are quite red. Okay, now let's get this tree going. We have a couple of little stumpy boys here. And this here tree. Oh my god.
Sorry.
It's alright. What is that?
On the left.
Just scared me. Okay, we need to work on the super long-reaching branches off of this boy. paint a bit drier. Needing some darker foliage down at the base of the tree. Yeah, that looks about right. Else, a little bit more on this guy and maybe some of the bark. Really need to chisel that down a bit. I think the paint is too wet. Having trouble getting a dry edge. Let's try that. Well, it'll work. Okay, I think we're good to move on to some detail inks now. Let's mute the microphone and get this blow dried, and hopefully we can actually dry up this paint a little bit more in case we need to go back through and darken things up even further. It usually helps me personally if I have a drier black paint because it gets all thick and juicy. Just a second.
Guarda qua che sto giardino, sembra si sti ciurance, una forma così fina, in l'aria se la fa. Se tu dici guarda via, dai lontano il nostro cuore, dai una pena nell'amore, ti amore non puoi nada. Vedo mare quanto è bella, spiro tanto sentimento, come gli occhi di racconto, cascia da ti fai sognare. Guarda fuori non sti insieme, che ti guardano ancora, che nel mondo va bene, tu adesso non basta. E tu dici parta via, da lontano da sto cuore, dalla terra dell'amore, ti rumori non torna. Ma non me la sa, non me la sa, non me la sa, non me la sa, non me la sa.
I didn't almost drink my paint. You fucking did. Okay, let's move that over yonder and get our Derwent Ink Tense ink blocks out so that we can start doing some detail arenas. Okay, so we have a pretty wide array of greens here. I want to try to keep these details, except for the ones on this little tree here. I want to try to keep them not overly bright because we see in the grayscale version of it, they don't stand out that much. Like they stand out on top of the shadows a lot, but they don't really compete with the light that's even coming from the background. I don't think my painting's a really good example of that. Here, you see the foliage at the bottom. It doesn't stand out as much as the like foggy background does. So while we do want the leaves and stuff to stand out on the background that they're on like the shadows, they shouldn't be too bright. So we need to try to keep a handle on that. So let's start with some of these like mid-tone greens. I think they'll be good. Oh, no. Oh, there's this like semi-dark one I think would be good for some of the background. No, leave that alone. No, yeah, let's do it. I don't know what's happening. Let's just go for it. For watercolors, I'd like to work light to dark, but when we get to this part, I like to work dark to light. So let's go in with the darker of the greens, and then we can work our way to our super, super cute highlights. I think that coffee hit me. I think I'm wired. A little bit more water. think that should be good. Let's try. So we want our mid foreground leaves. The ones that have started showing the red shadows. That might not be dark enough. I think we need to go darker. Okay. Let's try getting on some of the slightly brighter greens for a second, just so I can see how this is going to work out. Oh yeah, that looks nice. Oh yeah, that's quite nice. All right, let's go back to our darker, subtler green, and we can trust in our process that the lighter green will function on top of it. Okay, darker green, here we come. Let's have a little bit of trust in ourselves for just a hot second. Don't worry, Moonsquid, you don't have to trust yourself for that long, just a little bit. Just the next few hours. Do this. Oh, okay, okay. That's working. That's going somewhere. Nice. Wow, this is this is going a lot better than I expected. Whew. That's that's sure something. I did not see that coming. Okay, let's go on with that lighter color. I have a pretty juicy feeling about this. Pretty good feeling. really deep bank of shadow there that we need to leave alone. There seems to be a bit of a bushy clump. Just kind of covering over it. Cool, cool. Should be some slightly brighter leaves right around here. Let's go with a mid-tone green. Just so it doesn't get too like ridiculously busy. Yeah, like right around here, I think. You want the textures to be a little different, so things don't completely clash with each other. Just try to vary up our brush stroke type. See if we can get something else going. I think that'd be happy to sit here. Let's leave that for a bit. Move on to this side where we have the cute, super droopy leafy friends. We have some long streaks. And then some droopy tops. At least that's what I see. Really cute looking. We still have a bit of the kind of mid-tone green on our brush. So we'll work on the ones that look a bit more mid-tone, and then we can come back with the brighter green. Just popping in all the super, super special places. Again, if you're interested, I am using Derwent Inktense ink blocks on top of regular tube watercolors. I love the ink blocks so much, and the drier you mix them, the more opaque they are, and then the more water, the more transparent. So I use them quite similar to a gouache type of workflow. Okay, maybe a few more over here. Oh, I think I should mention that I'm not actually sponsored by Derwent. I just really like these zine blocks. Just to full disclosure, it sounds like I was selling them. I would if they'd let me. I'm a fan, Derwent! Let me help you make money. Okay, back into the brighter green. I could listen to this song all fucking day. So good. Okay. Tentatively moving on to the super bright yellowish green. on the foreground tree twig thing. The trig. Okay, let's see. Wonder if we should mix some white in just to make that stand out a little bit more. Let's wait until it dries to see. You know, it would probably be better if we just mixed a little bit of white in just to lift it a bit. Make it just a smidgy bit more obvious. So I'm gonna take this ink and smudge it into the white ink. It doesn't usually do too much to this particular color since it's already pretty strong on its own, but it might do just enough. So let's give that a shot. It also kind of desaturates it, but I think a little visibility will make up for a lack of vibrancy. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, that's fabulous. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so it still doesn't stand out too much. It doesn't stand out like a ton, but it doesn't stand out too much on the reference either. I think maybe it stands out a little bit more in the reference than it does in my painting. So I think maybe we should keep working on it a bit. You know what? It could use a highlighter too. The stick itself could use a highlight. So let's keep going with this color because I think it's fabulous. And it looks like it has a small highlight on its left-hand side. So let's do it. Oh, what do you know? That helps a lot. Who fucking knew? Okay, I mean, it's still a bit obscure, but I don't know, I'm feeling pretty pleased with it. feel like we could use a little bit of this color over here. Ooh, maybe a little red over here. Okay, we have a bit more white on our brush now, so let's try a bit more the brighter twigs off this boy. Well, that do what it do. Okay. God, I kind of feel like it should be done. Is it done? I feel like the more I do, I could risk really fucking it up, and I don't want to do that because I think it actually looks pretty cool. Okay, I think I need to stop because I think I'm very slowly overworking it. Like this part here, I think is just gone a bit too far. Let's remove some of that ink. And maybe around here. Yeah, that looks better already. And right over here. Get out of here, ink. I'm sick of you. All right, cool. Let's blow dry this bitch. All right, and that will do it for our Makers Monday, the very first of our background segments. I don't know how I started the sentence. That'll do it for this time, our very first session, studying backgrounds, particularly depth, creating a sense of depth using the background, middle ground, and foreground method. I think that we learned quite a lot, and I think this is gonna help me in future background endeavors. We will continue to work on the overall theme of backgrounds for the rest of the month, but we will start to get a little bit more specialized now that we have an idea of how backgrounds function as a basic principle. We can start doing super interesting things. I don't know what yet, but we'll fucking figure it out. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next stream time. Bye, cuties. Yo!